Hello, hello. I am a little bit nervous about this video because I want it to be as succinct as possible. But baby, the lady that we're covering, I don't know. This is going to be the second episode in this Woman in the Bible series, and it is definitely a story that you are familiar with. Even folks who really are not Christians may have heard about this particular woman. And one word that comes to my mind is being resilient. And that's what we women are. Guys, hang in there because there's always motivation for you too. When I looked up the definition of the word resilient, I already have an understanding of what it is, but I was surprised to find synonyms that said resilient means spring back, bounce back, um, recover. That's another word, right? So that's something to think of when we think of being resilient. But that makes me think of, wow, that means something had to happen before it. We're recovering from a fall. We're bouncing back from something. We're springing back. And that's just a reminder that life will life. Baby, you and me, we already know this. Another word that I think of with this particular person is tenacity, right? And tenacity means the persistence, not giving up, pushing forward. And that is something that just when I think about women, baby, we are resilient and we have tenacity. And I couldn't think of another Bible character that really talks about this more than the life of Ruth. The life of Ruth. So, hey, friends, hey, family, thank you so much for coming back. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Flo, and I provide faith based content. I am also documenting my weight loss journey, and I recently shared a video about a traumatic experience that I had through childhood. So, I'll definitely go in and out of sharing information about mental health, self care, self regulation, self awareness, all of those things. So please like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell. Hit the bell for notifications. Yeah, I always mess that word up. But I'm so happy that you're here. Just a quick reminder, I am not a teacher. I am not a preacher. I just love Jesus. So thank you for tuning in with me. I had to just tap in and at least read the first chapter of Ruth again. God is always humbling me because I almost jumped on here without even reading it because, man, Ruth is just a story that I love. My Bible is tatted up, y'all. It is, let me try to show you. Just tatted up. All things Ruth, right? I even have a big pull out thing, and I think I'm covering up my mic. A big pull out of notes all about Ruth, the history of the Bible. It's just I I love this book. And probably most single women do. But her story is amazing, truly, when I think about Ruth. And if you don't know the story, I'll just give you a quick recap. You can imagine. So it was this guy named Elimelech. He was definitely a Israelite. He moved his family from Judah. His wife and his two sons, they moved from Judah and they went to Moab because there was a famine in Judah. So they went to Moab looking for food, stayed there for a while. Elimelech ended up dying. So he died, and Ruth was there with her two sons. And the two sons then married women from the land, women from Moab. And marrying women from Moab, they were not Jewish women, and that was something that the Jewish tradition kind of frowned on back then. But anyway, married two women. Their names were Ruth and Orpah. And rumor has it that that's where Oprah's name came from, but her auntie or her mom, whoever named her, had the name spelled wrong. Anywho, then the two sons died. So Elimelech dies, and then the two sons died. So now Ruth is just Naomi, who was Ruth's mother-in-law, like, look, I am just going to go back to my own land. Y'all stay here. You did good by me. God bless you real good. And they're crying, they're weeping. No, we just lost our two husbands. We don't want to lose you too. So they're weeping, and she's like, no, right believe so by God, you go ahead back. And so Orpah is crying, but Orpah's like, okay, cool. I'm going back to my family. Now, Ruth, not so much so. And this is the verse that probably is the most popular that you've heard Ruth say. So she was dedicated to staying with Naomi, and Naomi just kept encouraging her to go, but Ruth clung to her. And this is what Ruth said: if we ourselves, me, you, and me, could be this dedicated to God, it would be amazing. This is what Ruth said. And she said, this is what Naomi said. And she said, look, your sister in law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister in law. But Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go. And wherever you lodge, I will lodge. And your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. And that is a declaration. And some of the comments that I put on the side of my Bible, I said that that is a declaration of commitment. Ruth was committed. She is dedicated. She has a high reverence for Naomi, and she wants to serve God. Like, that is such a key to know that when Naomi said in that first verse in Ruth chapter 1:15, she said, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods, right? Ruth didn't want any part of that. She said she's going to go where you go, and your God's going to be my God. I don't want to go back to Moab. I don't want to go back to the Moabitess people. And just in case you didn't know, the Moabites historically, and I have this on my note page, the Moabites are descendants of incest. When Lot's daughters got him drunk, right? You gotta go back and read that story, baby. Lot's daughters got him drunk, and then they slept with him. So the Moabites are descendants of incest. And then they were evil. God called them wicked. The Moabitess people were sacrificing their children, and they were banned from entering the courts of God. And that is in Deuteronomy 12:3. I did a deep Bible study on Ruth. Y'all see, I'm ready. But can you imagine? She didn't want to go back to those gods, those wicked gods, that lifestyle, even though she lost everything. There was a knowing in her spirit that the God that Naomi served was the one and only true God. And she was not trying to go back to Moabites and serve those gods. Now, something that we do learn from Ruth's story, this whole chapter, one thing that I've learned in my Bible study is that we can see a demonstration of God's providence. We see a demonstration of God's grace. We see a demonstration of his love and his redemption. This truly is a redemptive story of how she lost her husband, and then she went with her mother-in-law, and eventually she does get the man, y'all. She gets her Boaz, right? And sometimes there were so many times in this story where I just kind of chuckled. If people think the Bible is whack, I don't understand it, because it's just juicy stories too. It's interesting. I love the part when Naomi tells Ruth to go lay at his feet, and she does it. And he wakes up like, who are you? Like, can you imagine just somebody come laying at your feet in the middle of the night? And then he somehow ends up marrying her and having a reverence for her. But Ruth also, she did some things, okay? One thing that we can learn from Ruth, her life, the telling of her life throughout this story, is one, she had a huge disappointment. We cannot just jump over the fact that losing her husband was nothing. Yes, she lost her husband, right? We're talking about resilience. We're talking about recovering. We're talking about springing back and bouncing back. She had a great loss. She lost her husband. And then what was hanging in the balance? The losing of her being able to serve the one and only true God. So she rather go with Naomi and go to a place and a people that she did not know than to stay with her people. So she had a great disappointment. She had a great loss, but she wasn't afraid to serve. She wasn't afraid to serve Naomi. She was willing to go out and glean food After all of the other folks collected food, she was going after them. She would serve Naomi and she was willing to serve herself, right? And then she also was very hopeful. She was hopeful. I want to just share this verse with you where I said to myself, Ruth was bold, confident, and she was looking for favor. And this is when she meets Boaz in chapter 2. Naomi is telling her that, hey, there's another family member that we possibly could marry. And Ruth responds like this: please let me go to the field and glean heads of grain after him, in whose sight I might find favor. And Naomi said, go, my daughter. Then she left and went and gleaned in the field. And she happened to come to the part of the field where Boaz was longing, who was the family of Elimelech. Now behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, the Lord be with you. And he answered them, the Lord bless you. Then Boaz said to the servant who was in charge of reaping, who's this young man? Who's this young woman? Whose woman is this? He's checking her out, right? That could be a lesson for our single ladies, for us. Like sometimes is your face in the place where you need to be seen to get the favor of the person you're supposed to get the favor of? I don't know. But we're not here to talk about this because this is something that applies to us all. Ruth's story is a redemptive story. She was willing to serve, she was hopeful, and then she found redemption. But I just want us to remember that she was dedicated. She was dedicated. She could have, when she got there, said, you know what, forget this. I know that I said I wanted to go with Naomi, but who said I was going to have to do all this labor, all of this hard work? I mean, she was not able to just get what everyone else was harvesting. She had to come behind them and clean up the scraps that was there, right? She's in the fields all night with the other workers and she's staying late. She's trying to get the work done. That was not easy work. She had to serve, right? And she wants to serve God. That's what I love about it. And she has a high reverence for Naomi. She has a high reverence for Naomi. There's a part in this story when Boaz sent her away with some food, right? Um, and what she did, instead of making sure that she ate all of the food, she only ate a little bit because she wanted to save a portion of that food to take it back to Naomi also. And I just want us to celebrate this character for Women's History Month because it is something that we have to remember that we can also have tenacity. We can be persistent. We can have hope. We are going to fall down. We all know it. There are going to be so many times that life circumstances are going to happen. Hey, it could be the devil or it could be us failing on our own selves, our own flesh, messing up on our own. But we have to know this: we can always get back up, we can always bounce back. And when we do bounce back, baby, we want to do it with some tenacity. We want to do it with some persistence. I don't care if you fell down 20 years ago and you just realized that you need to get up. There's still hope. There's still hope. Get up now. Get up with the tenacity. Get up being courageous. Get up being dedicated. Get up being committed. Because we can learn this for sure. God is on our side. And in most cases, He has said this so many times throughout His word that He will never leave us or forsake us. Most of the times, it's us doing the leaving, it's us doing the forsaking. We're falling off, we're getting lazy, we are not being dedicated. As you know, if you are following my channel, I posted a video yesterday or the other day. I don't know when you'll watch this. It'll be a previous day, and sharing my story of what happened in my childhood. And it took being brave and courageous to post that video. And I was doing a Bible plan that this quote resonates with me so well, and you probably will hear me mention this quote again and again and again. It says, a God size those who have a God sized calling need to have God sized courage, right? Ruth had God sized courage, baby. She was courageous. Going and laying at that man's feet at the middle of the night, going out in that field and gleaming, leaving her people and going with Naomi and not know she was courageous. But this is what we have to remember: be resilient, able to bounce back, be tenacious, persistent, and be courageous. Be courageous because we, you and me, have to tend to the calling that God has on our lives. So, yeah, wasn't as long as I thought. I'm not mad at 15 minutes at all. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed week. I will be posting this on Monday, and I hope it blesses you for the rest of your week. Episode 2 in the Woman in the Bible series is in the book. Thank you for watching, and God bless you real good.